Thanos really gets the Cosmic Cube.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I
So
didn't
yeah, so
realize we were back that far.
yes, because Mantis was in that, and then uh, so yeah, so I mean, we could cover it. I don't actually have it on the schedule.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it is just, it's just they mentioned the fact that it was more about her origin, which we were doing. So I didn't know if it was worthwhile information about her origins or not.
Yeah, I don't think it really has much to do with her origins.
Okay. Because, of course, being comic books, they tend to be a little free with the truth. It's like,
Yeah, well,
more of her amazing origin! Oh, by the way, my name is Mantis, and here's all the recounting of the previous two issues, and that's all we're going to talk about involving me. We're going to move on to this other thing now.
yeah, there's a little recap and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, in fact, um, it has that scene where Rick Jones's girlfriend comes to the door.
Oh, with his card?
But this time it's like, we've got a visitor at the front door, no less. Somebody follow you here, Cap? I hope not. No, I don't recognize her. Wait, she has a card. It's Rick Jones' entry pass. Right, Shellhead. Rick used to be my partner. We better check this out fast. Not, we must face her with force.
Of course.
Um, so yeah, this one kind of, that is definitely a weird transition. Um, but yeah, I had excluded it originally because like Thanos is, or not Thanos, but Drax is only in like the recap of what's going on elsewhere,
Okay.
and they mostly fly around in space and fight a bunch of Thanos' minions
Yeah. And then get phased.
somehow. Yeah, I don't even think
Well,
that's
it's the
mentioned
Cosmic
here.
Cube, Infinite Wishes thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, so I actually have us skipping from 24 to 28. Well, I mean, I've already
4 whole issues.
we're already skipping from 114 to 123 because there's a bunch. I mean, if we go for every appearance in the Avengers, that would add a lot. We've already got a lot.
Yeah.
I have not yet gone through Moondragon's Avengers run to see how many of those we should actually pay attention to. But
Well, I mean, because of course, every Avengers is going to have the Avengers in it, and so it's a question of, is it pertinent to what you actually want to talk about, or is it just the
right,
fact that they're an Avenger, this is the Avengers comic book, and they're showing up?
exactly. So, like, there are actually two appearances of Mantis before 114 in the previous two issues, but they're literally like one panel of mysterious girl. Who is this? We'll look back to her later.
Yeah. Also, the swordsman. Why?
Yeah. Um, because everyone likes Hawkeye, but more of a jerk.
More of a jerk and less range?
Yes. Well, his sword does kind of shoot some sort of beams at people.
Oh yeah, it shoots beams, but yeah, that's because yeah, he's like, I'm an evil person. Wait, I want to work for the Avengers. Haha, no, I'm an evil person. No, really, I'm actually a good person, just pretending to be an evil person.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had some funky ideas about comic books back then.
Yeah. Well, this one's actually playing on the idea that Swordsman has betrayed the team multiple times in the past.
Well, yeah. Of course, they had to set that up, which means the guy had to be a jerk all those previous times.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey there.
Sorry, I was finishing something up.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. So should we just... Oh, good.
Oh, we could just start. Sorry. I forgot. Politeness doesn't matter.
I was going to grab some water quick.
Okay. We'll wait for you to grab water first.
I'll be right back.
So, Jesse,
Yes.
do you see what the guy from Things from Another World gave me today?
Whatever reason, Jeff is now full of noise.
Oh.
That's better. No. I'll mute him until he gets back. Okay. Excellent.
Isn't that amazing?
That is pretty hot.
I was super pumped. So, he was like, we're not selling these. They're not going. And you do a podcast, right? I was like, I do. Here, take it. Okay. Thanks.
I haven't gotten free stuff for podcasting yet.
I flirt
That's
with
cool.
the guys at my comic book store.
Ah,
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
don't have that advantage. No,
Yeah.
it's cool.
Sorry. I'll share.
So did you read any outside of the assigned issues? Or
I did. I assumed you would know that. Okay, sorry. Yes, I read everything from her appearance in 112 all the way up through 125.
Okay.
So, because she has a background story in 122 or 123, where they talk about how she was a whore and saved Swordsman's life.
Yeah, so 123 and 124 we're covering.
Right. But there was a little, like, I'm just saying there was a little bit of her background in.
Yeah, there's a little bit here and there, but I think most of it's recapped in 123 if it's not already. But yeah, there's being in the Avengers for quite some time, I had to narrow it down to some highlights.
Understandable.
Have you looked at 128 yet then, or no?
Not recently.
Okay, because that's exciting.
Good to know.
How's my sound quality coming in?
You have a few pops.
That's annoying.
It sounds like possibly the highs are a little up there.
Don't know what I can do about that.
I was supposed to say, it almost sounds like I know what I'm saying.
Make sure it is. Using the microphone. How's that?
You're going to have to talk a little bit more.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Rocket, 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 raccoon. I don't know what to say.
It seems like it's working better.
Okay.
You're not popping so much on the highs. I think I'm going to institute a new house rule of don't bother me when I'm podcasting.
You need a little sign.
I'm being yelled at to join Elder Scrolls.
Was my headset making noises?
Yes, it was.
Sorry. I need to get a new headset because it's been doing that more frequently.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Cosmic Tales Episode 16, a Guardians of the Galaxy podcast. I'm Jesse Butler, and I'm joined with...
Jeff Davis?
And I'm Kit Paris.
And today we are winding back the clock to look at the origins of Mantis. We're going to take a look at Avengers 114, and then we're going to skip a little ahead to Avengers 123 and 124, both of which are still kind of far behind where we were. I believe they all take place before the first Thanos war with the Cosmic Cube.
Yeah. Okay,
Who
so
wants Who wants to talk about the cover?
It's quite a cover, and of course setting up for later in the story plot twists.
And as I'm reading these comics with you guys and I'm actually paying more attention to the covers, I'm realizing how often they lie to us.
Oh yeah.
Oh, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this one seems to be setting up with Mantis and Swordsman, whom I was just saying worst Avenger ever. Mantis and Swordsman are ginormous size compared to all the rest of the Avengers, who are getting handily blasted by Sword and something else with
It's a
Mantis.
spoiler. That they get so big. It's a spoiler. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm already ruining it.
That said, very dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of cringing and cowering, and Thor doing his classic "I've been hit" flying backwards thing.
While swinging the hammer.
Well, he's always swinging the hammer.
But it's...
He has to swing the hammer to fly. This is in that era.
Huh.
Yeah, he always had to swing the hammer around and throw it in order to be able to fly.
This
But if
week
you didn't touch
on,
again... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, this week on There's Serious Gaps in Kit's Knowledge.
Yeah, this is in the era where if he lets go of the hammer for too long, he turns it back into
Donald Blake.
Donald Blake. Yeah, I was going to say Don
Yeah.
Draper, but that's not quite it.
No, he was not nearly as suave. Yes, his
No.
hammer turns back into a stick, and he turns back into Donald Blake, world-renowned archaeologist, or maybe just
No, he's a doctor.
He's
archaeologist.
a medical
Was he a
doctor.
doctor?
Mm-hmm.
He's a medical doctor.
I thought he was an
Yeah.
archaeologist because he was scouring the area and found the stick.
No. So in the episode so there's two issues just before this that have a little teasers of Mantis, of like mysterious girl who's going to come, but we don't need to cover the whole issues. But like the last issue was anti-android people, because apparently that was a thing, who were really upset that Scarlet Witch and Android were in a relationship, storm and have suicide bombers to try and destroy Vision. And they're like, oh no, we need a doctor, and they pull, Thor and his secret identity, but no one else quite knows. It's convoluted. But yes, they need both Tony Stark and the Doctor at the same time, but they're also fighting off other people, so they have to kind of like swap in and out and pretend to, I'll go get Thor.
I now regret not reading that issue.
You should.
How that narrative quite plays out.
Yeah, okay. So, yes, this issue opens up, and Scarlet Witch is staring longingly out of the window. There's a odd shadow of the creepy guy falling
looks
across the window.
Yeah, he looks like he's wearing lab glasses and has a pompadour.
Yeah, I was going to say Zombie Elvis.
Yeah, he's got the fangs, though, so it could be Vampire Elvis.
Reasonable.
But Scarlet Witch, also, favorite character of mine.
Okay.
I've just
So,
got
yes, you definitely need to read the previous one for the Vision, Scarlet Witch, mad anti-android bombers. So we also flash back to her disagreements with Quicksilver, who also doesn't think that Scarlet Witch and Android should be together, but he's off with Crystal and the Inhumans.
Yeah, Quicksilver in this era was always kind of a weeby jerk. He was like prone to fits of rage where he would yell and scream at people and then he would run off and disappear for a while.
Yep.
I never really understood him.
And we should do the credits.
Oh, yes. So this one is author Steve Englehart, who we all remember from Star-Lord's first appearance. Artist Bob Brown. Inker Mike Esposito. Letterer Artie Simic. Colorist Petra Goldberg. And editor Roy Thomas.
So that explains why Swordsman is such an asshole in this episode.
Well, I think Swordsman's always an asshole, but yes.
Can you guys hear the background noise that's happening
Yes.
on my end? Okay.
A little bit.
Hey, Mark.
I'm trying to be very quiet.
Could you suck my dick and, like, be respectful of what I'm doing for a little while?
That's why I'm trying to be very quiet.
But you're not doing a very good job of that.
Quieter.
Yes, you can. You could do it not at all. I'm gonna kill you.
Hopefully in a loving way, though.
No. Siblings never kill each other in a loving way.
So that's Quicksilver?
Mhm.
And you're the Scarlet Witch. you really need a soundproof, or at least an isolated room.
I need to figure that out. He did just get home from work, though. He's working a lot of hours this weekend, so to be fair. And he did leave when I asked him to, despite arguing. He was very nice to leave, and I owe him dinner now. I'll
right.
pay for you to go to McDonald's or something. Okay. Anyway, podcast.
Okay, so there's some danger room exercises, although I don't know what they actually call it in this. Mock combat between Captain America, Iron Man, and the Vision. Turns out being able to phase is really good in combat. But I don't think we need to do too much.
Vision, also one of my favorite characters.
Yes. He's a good character. He's really a backbone of the Avengers. Of all the characters that come and go, even Captain America and Iron Man wander off and do their own thing for a while. Vision is almost always a core member of the team.
Hmm.
So.
Oh. I was just going to say, mock combat leads to, hey, Vision, despite being apparently recently attacked by crazy anti-android people, is just fine and capable of being an Avenger, but Scarlet Witch, is incredibly frayed nerves right now because of the potential loss. So even though the fact Captain America refers to him as an android, only in the context of if he were a normal human being, then he'd be out of commission for longer. Wanda takes this as a slight and immediately leaves the Avengers mansion in something of a huff and heads off.
Although not such a huff that she doesn't change into street clothes.
Well, see, I was wondering if that was like a little hex spell type thing, or if she was actually changing into clothes.
No, there's a little caption here. Returning to her room, Wanda hurls her action garb from her body and yanks on whatever street clothes she grabs first.
Which, amazingly enough, is still incredibly coordinated.
Well, the closet, if it's already pre-organized, you just pull out the next outfit and it's boom.
Or she could use her probability alteration powers to make sure that she pulls the best possible outfit.
There we go.
Anyways, out on the street, we've got Wanda getting hit on by, hey, stereotypical construction guy, because there's stereotypical construction guys just a little bit away from the mansion since she's walking. And he proceeds to be the standard jerk with the whole, hey, too bad the person you love didn't die, because if he did, I'd totally tap that.
Yeah, because not only does he recognize her as the Scarlet Witch outside of costume, because I guess no one else has hair like that.
Well, to be fair, she doesn't really wear a mask. She just sort of wears a crown-like thing. So,
It's true.
yeah. And so she proceeds to get a little upset and blast him into a hot dog stand. Which, of course, means that the rest of them need to immediately beat the crap out of her.
Yes, but thankfully, Mantis randomly appears and helps fight off these guys using her presumably Vietnamese martial arts.
Doing something, but Mantis saves the day.
Yes.
Which is interesting, being that Wanda's an Avenger, a mutant, and yet she has another woman save her from these guys.
Yeah, it's probably not that she needed saving as much as just like Mantis shows up and helps fight, so she's like, okay, I'll see what Mantis can do.
Go power.
And
So
oh, go ahead.
no, totally go because I got a lot to say coming up.
Okay. So Mantis escorts Wanda home, meets the Avengers. Thor's very congenial and saying, "We were worried about you. We were going to look for you." And then Wanda introduces the Mantis, and then Captain America becomes a woman hater.
He's not a woman hater. He's the gatekeeper. I shouldn't use that word. He's in charge of these people's lives and safety. And this Wanda's just bringing. And he's like, "What the fuck, Wanda? You bring some hoe into the mansion? Like, we didn't do a background check on her yet. She's a security risk." I'm totally with Steve on this one. It's bullshit what Wanda did. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
Well-
to be fair, he has, in other issues, been just as mad when, say, Black Panther or some other random person comes to the door uninvited and unvetted. But yes, he's like, hold. Yeah.
No, I swear, I as much as a social justice warrior I pretend to be, I'm totally on Steve's side with this. It's a security risk to bring randos into the mansion. The Avengers are at risk. Like, what kind of an idiot keeps doing this? Why don't they have the security system?
Well, supposedly they do. Extensive security systems designed by Tony Stark.
But Scarlet Witch has a key pass, whatever, so can let someone in. To be
Yeah.
fair, in a much, much later She-Hulk issue, they kick her out of the Avengers mansion for bringing too many one-night stands home.
But
that's-
Jennifer.
Yes. Though we got 3 decades to go before we catch up to that part of Avengers continuity. But not only is, totally unknown Mantis a bit of a security threat, definitely Swordsman, who pops out of the shadows, is definitely a security threat as they flash back to the 3 or 4 times he has already joined and then betrayed the team.
Yeah, see, and here we definitely get to see that Captain America is quite justified in saying, "People, close the goddamn door and lock it." Because Mantis, I mean, at least it's like Wanda's coming in, Wanda's vouching for her. Captain America's being cautious, which is kind of his thing. But, the rest of us are like, "Oh, come on, she helped out Wanda. How bad can she be?" Then the swordsman shows up from around the corner behind everyone, sword drawn.
Well, how would you know it's a swordsman if he doesn't have his sword out?
Yeah, see, that's kind of a cue that maybe you need to reconsider this whole superhero thing.
Yes.
Not one of my favorite characters.
Anyway,
So-
Pop Bear gets mad.
Yeah. Well, so he recounts his tale of, all the times he's betrayed the Avengers, but then says that after the last time he decided he kept sinking lower and lower, becoming persona non grata across most of the world, and then he finally, finds himself deep in a bottle in a Saigon bar where he meets the Mantis.
And isn't that just the way that everything goes?
In the 70s, yeah.
It's Saigon bar, meeting a random Vietnamese woman while you're drunk. If that doesn't make for a good, superhero reunion story, I don't know what does.
It's a classic meet cute.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
To be honest, this is shortly after the Vietnam War, and there are a lot of people who had been coming home with their Vietnamese girlfriends at that particular time. So it's not actually as unusual at this time period as you might think.
I think
Oh no, I wasn't suggesting that. I was being
Yeah.
that.
Okay. But, So Captain America is unconvinced that Mantis has convinced him to go straight, but the other members of the team remind him that
So sorry.
you had something to add, Kit?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good. I'm so sorry. Please keep going. Oh. Okay, I'm good.
So Iron Man reminds him that Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye had criminal records before they found a place in the Avengers ranks, and Black Panther says, "Remember, Cap, our name is Avengers, not Revengers."
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean.
I don't know either. But anyway, they convince the rest of the team decides to give him a probational status, and then Mantis isn't officially on the team, but just gets to move in as, his +1.
And she's a new friend for Wanda.
Yes.
And she proceeds to kiss every guy.
Which is beautiful. Want to point out that with Steve, it's on the chin. And with Thor, it's right on the mouth.
Vision's a half mouth.
He got shy, turned away.
Mm-hmm.
And Iron Man gets a metal-plated cheek. So.
Well, that's pretty standard.
With Tony, you really got to be careful about protection.
So anyway, then we have a montage.
He doesn't want to get too excited.
It's already kind of hard. Oh, I'm so sorry.
So in a montage.
So a nice montage. We see them, fight off various foes, mostly unidentified sorts, but
sea creatures and robots. Your standard go-tos when you want thugs to beat up. For the Avengers, at least.
And some training exercises where Swordsman shows that he can hold his own against Black Panther.
Although within this, of course, we've got Black Panther asserting that the Swordsman's potentially going to betray everyone, and he's going to do horrible, awful things. And then the Swordsman does the classic, I was a villain, but I'm not a villain anymore move of, when he has the chance to attack and or kill the person that he's defeated, he refuses to and helps them up.
Good guy, Swordsman.
Yep.
So we do have a random news bulletin to show that Hawkeye's back in town. We should mention that Swordsman used to be Hawkeye's mentor back when they ran in the circus together and the way before time. So that's a thing.
Carnies, man.
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
And then he seems a bit sore about Hawkeye being in the Avengers and all that.
Yeah. So then he goes and finds Mantis, who says it is time to do a thing, and
it's all very cryptic.
It's all very cryptic. They have something set up on the roof, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And she chants, and then something appears, and we get to the Lion God, who we didn't read the issue 2 issues ago, where a guy from Wakanda tries to take over Wakanda and usurp Black Panther by summoning the ancient lion god. It's not very good and kind of racist. So, but he was sort of banished, and I guess was floating around here. And so Mantis and Swordsman have recalled the lion god, and
He breaks
now,
into the Avengers Mansion.
yes, and now it appears that Mantis and Swordsman have joined the lion god to help defeat the Avengers. And here we see that Mantis is so good at martial arts that she can, do a crippling nerve strike on the thunder god Thor.
I just want to point out that I'm sure Cap feels incredibly validated in this moment as Thor balls to the floor unconscious. He's like, yeah, bitch. Told ya.
Yep. And then some sort of sleeper hold she puts on Captain America.
Swordsman says, "Hey, my sword fires rays, and those rays are perfect for disrupting android thought processes." Pew!
Die, Vision, die! Pew, pew!
So yes. Go ahead, Kit.
I was just going to say, epic battle ensues. Read it. And then cut to an incredibly awful panel.
Which one?
The bottom of
There are
that
so
page
many.
with Black Panther tied to a stake.
Yeah, so the lion god is going to sacrifice Black Panther.
To himself.
To himself.
Sure.
This all works. And he's going to sacrifice Black Panther by setting him on fire.
A la Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
Or witches. It's so bad. I don't even want to talk about it.
So, Swordsman distracts the lion god using his hypnotic sword dance, and Mantis continues to hypnotize him with her waggling hips.
She belly dances like glycerin, apparently.
And so entranced, Iron Man, who is recovered, wakes up and then uses some sort of pre-built contraption
That he can activate by shooting.
Well, yeah,
Much less.
everything is repulsor ray remoted.
And we should point out that Iron Man definitely does say, I don't get it, but I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity.
Yes. So now here we're at the last page where they've captured him, and they explain, well, we know you didn't trust us yet, but we knew this bad guy was going to come sooner or later, so we brought him in to kind of convince him that we were on his side and waited for our chance to strike. And Captain America still ends the issue with, this could have been a diabolically clever smokescreen to blind us from some worse trickery later. I wish I knew.
Don't we all, Steve? Don't we all?
Yeah. So that was 114, where Mantis is partially explained and introduced to the team. What do you think overall of that issue?
We kind of burned through it, but there's a lot of subtlety and intrigue and misdirection and twists and stuff in the issue, and I think actually reading through it is good. It's not great to talk about because there isn't an awful lot about Mantis, and I don't give a shit about anybody else, so...
I think I hammered the point home too much that Mantis and Swordsman were not to be trusted. But they tended to be a little ham-handed in this era with their general storytelling. So, but again, it does perfectly justify why Steve Rogers should be left in charge of security and why people should probably listen to him on a more regular basis. Because, Strange Woman saves Wanda, that's great, comes inside the Avengers Mansion, and with her boyfriend summons a giant god, which they have to beat the crap out of, except he beats the crap out of them, which weakens him just enough so that they can hypnotize him and then lock him away.
But this is weeks or months later, so it's a long con plan. So, yeah, definitely the big twist in this is that, unlike every other time the swordsman's betrayed the team, this time he's just pretending to, so it's a double bluff. But, yeah, it's okay.
Eh. Some cool stuff happens in between that we're not going to talk about.
Yeah, so we're skipping ahead to 123 because, now they're part of the Avengers, so they go on off and do some Avengers stories. And we're even actually kind of coming into the end of a story in progress where they have just fought off the Zodiac, which is a group of 12 people who have Zodiac-themed powers.
Or costumes, at least.
Presumably their powers are somewhat related. I mean, I know the Taurus guy turns into a bull. I don't know if he does that now. I know he does that later, because most of my experience with them is future appearances. But,
We'll say that Mantis plays a huge part in the battle with the Zodiac. And there's a big thing that comes up later where the Vision saves her life. And Swordsman has a whole... Mantis is injured and dreaming about Vision, and I can't do anything because I'm also injured. And we get a little bit of a love triangle. But
okay.
Yep, that's it.
Except it's more of a love rhombus because the Vision's still hot on the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
So.
Who is in love with her brother, so it becomes a pentagon.
Is she?
And he's dating Crystal, so it becomes a sextagon.
How appropriate.
Barely. Anyway.
Okay, then. So, yes, as much as I'd love to cover everything of Mantis, we're going to try and stick to highlights because it's going to take us 4 episodes to cover the highlights of Mantis.
I get it. I just want to say, the stuff in between, some stuff happens that's worth reading if you're into Mantis. I'm going to punch you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, if you really are curious, go all the way back to 112 or so, read the terrible Wakanda story, and forward. But, anyway, on to issue 123, Vengeance in Vietnam, or An Origin for Mantis.
Not just Anne.
Yes, well, it'll take a while for her origin to fully unfold. So this is once again author Steve Englehart, artist Bob Brown, inker Don Heck, letterer John Costanza, colorist Petra Goldberg, and editor Roy Thomas. It's most of the same team, except for I think they swapped out the inker there.
Maybe.
I think they swapped out the letterer, too. Not that those things really have a major impact on the comic itself, but yeah.
So I picked up a book by Steve Englehart recently.
Like a novel type thing?
Yes, it's called Punch Man or something along those lines. Oh, Point Man. It's awful. You should read it.
Oh, wow.
So, oddly enough, my friend Gareth, who is a big Captain America fan, says that Englehart's run on Captain America is one of his favorites.
Well, maybe Englehart just needs the right character to shine.
Yeah.
I think he does a fairly good job. I'm just...
It's not writing that particular novel.
There's a series of them.
Oh.
Anyway.
So I was going to say, Don Heck, who's the inker here, we should remember from way back in Tales to Astonish 13, as the guy who did most of the drawing of that first Groot issue. He also did a lot of work on Iron Man and other stuff. So.
I'm so happy we have you, Jesse.
For all that important fill-in information.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
good.
I got to say, I'm rather fond of Don Heck. I think he's one of those, unassuming guys who was at Marvel who did a lot of the back-end work and doesn't get enough credit for how much. I mean, he co-created Iron Man technically. He was in the 60s and actually 60s through 70s, did a lot of the back-end inking and fill-in pencils, and so he's a powerhouse.
Well, I mean, most of the people at Marvel in the early years were doing way more than just one thing.
Right.
Writing, drawing, inking, lettering, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, our splash page is here. We've got the Avengers have captured the Zodiac, but the surprising reveal is that Libra, one of the Zodiac, has claimed to be the father of Mantis.
To which she has some choice words to say.
You want to read them off? Someone?
I think Kit should.
No, that's not true. That's impossible. Oh, wait, wrong story?
She still has both hands.
Oh, shit. Okay. Where am I? All right, that's right, Avengers. I'm the father of Mantis. Dun 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 dun. Mantis says, "My father, my father." I'm sorry. I was not prepared for Shakespeare at the Park. Okay.
Should I be Mantis and you can be Libra?
No, it's cool. It's cool. I'll do it all, man. I'm multi-talented. I'm a triple threat. Okay. My father. How can such a heartless? Well, that's not what that says. How can such heartless, cruel words pass through from the? Ah! Okay. Zoom in. Okay. I am so sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's all good.
Leave.
We'll clean it up in post.
Yeah, this is why I'm not done editing the Star-Lord episode.
Jesse will clean it up in post.
I am an adult. Finally, a lie too big. My father, how can such a heartless, cruel words... I did it again. How can such heartless, cruel words pass from the mouth of any human being? To stand before us after your crime cartel has collapsed and attempt to raise false sympathy in so terrible a manner, I pity... She gets cut off. In a very fatherly way.
Yes.
Young lady.
I did not abandon my role as Libra, the balance of Zodiac, to rescue the Avengers, thereby breaking my bonds with crime. I have no motive for deceiving you. Or did I not?
Did I not?
Did I
not? Did I not?
Yeah.
And following that, we have Iron Man's pointed, "Hey, it's the 60s! Maybe you're her father, and maybe you're Richard Nixon." Because Richard Nixon was a blind, tall, muscled guy with blonde hair.
And a blue shirt with...
And a blue shirt with the Libra symbol on it. Yeah.
So this is actually 74.
70s then.
Yeah.
It's...
I do believe that Richard Nixon in the Marvel Universe becomes, or is either an alien who gets killed, or there's something weird that goes on in Nixon Marvel continuity.
I thought he was a head in a jar.
No, that's Futurama.
Oh. I knew it made too much sense for Marvel.
Much later on. But anyways, the general consensus now is, despite this shocking revelation, that maybe we shouldn't be doing it while we've got a whole bunch of costume criminals standing around on top of a building, or in a warehouse, I'm not sure which. Perhaps we should actually, take this elsewhere.
And here's, I think, one of the first times we see Mantis using the phrase "this one" in reference to herself.
I think she did in the previous issue, and there's certainly probably some in the ones in between. But she definitely has a distinct style of speaking, which will be important to recognize her later when she has a different name.
Several times.
Yes.
Yet she uses "create this one" and then follows it with "I assure you."
Mm.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
Mm.
Anyway, she has no father. The Vision says every person who is born has a father. She says, nope, not this one.
She says someone helped create this one, so... Test tube baby?
I guess so.
The assumptions. Now we have the let's have our subtle reverse racism going on. With the no Occidental criminal can do this.
Ah.
And we find out that Libra's eyes have been burned out of his face.
Ugh.
So,
I'm really glad they didn't show it.
Yeah, hence, comics code. Hence why they had him in a blindfold. And then we go into, despite the fact that they have just gone, I assume, downstairs? No, they're
Well, I think
actually
this
back
is-
in the mansion. Yeah.
Yeah, a little while later, they've
Um,
sent off everyone else to jail, and now they're talking to him in the mansion.
And now we go flashback.
So I find it interesting that this guy was so gung-ho to fight off commies in Vietnam that he joined as a mercenary in 1953 and fought with the French. So this is before the U.S. involvement.
Even though he's German.
Yes. So, fairly freshly off the end of World War II, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed gentleman decides, I'm going to go to Vietnam and fight with the French.
Anyway, meets a whore.
No, he meets Lua. Lua is not a whore. She is a very pleasant and lovely young woman whom he, in fact, marries after a whirlwind courtship.
I
2 months later. Well, marriage was 2 months later, not the whirlwind courtship. They didn't get married and then have the courtship. That would be silly.
And then her brother has some racism and basically says that they find out that her parents and her family didn't approve of the marriage because he's German.
Because he's not Vietnamese, I guess.
Yeah.
And much less German guy who decides to fight with French Legion meets the one girl in all of Vietnam whose brother is the king of the Saigon underworld.
It's pretty convenient that way.
Yeah.
How do we say his name?
Monsieur Cruel?
Monsieur Cruel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is strange, since he hates the white guy that he would use Monsieur.
Well, it's French-occupied Vietnam, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose at the time, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, stuff happens.
We
Bullets
also
are shot.
find out that Monsieur Cruel is who the swordsman was working for when he was in Vietnam and met Mantis. So, despite the fact that Lieber goes further into the story to say that they hid from Lua's brother, Mantis was apparently operating in Vietnam close enough to meet the swordsman who was working for the guy who supposedly killed her mother.
Oh, we don't know that yet.
Look, Vietnam's a very small country.
It's
only
not.
I know. But in Marvel terms, there's only so much that's going to happen in another country. I mean...
Because it's not happening in New York City.
Right.
Which is the epicenter of the Omniverse.
Exactly.
But yes, they were running away because he was trying to kill them. And then they had a daughter, so they wanted to settle down. And then he showed up, and his goons set fire to their house and killed them. Well, killed the wife, and he got away with his eyes burned.
But luckily his daughter is unharmed, and he wandered the jungle blindly until he finally was rescued by some monks.
Whom seem to be prevalent in the Marvel Universe in lots of places like this. Which, again, subtle racism, that, all of the Asian countries just have hidden temples everywhere that can teach you super mystical martial arts or the necromantic arts of ancient times.
This one is explained, though.
Later.
Right. You're totally right.
But yeah, it's...
But they retconned it, so it made it a little less racy. So.
Well, it's not even a retcon. It's revealed next issue, isn't it?
Yes.
So Englehart clearly had this planned. I mean, this whole story arc...
They've retconned things in following issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, but I would believe that there's a grander plan that Englehart has been working towards. This is not just kind of wandering. This is all Englehart, and he's got a vision.
Yeah, and if you follow Captain Marvel previous to this, there's a hint of that too. Because the priests whom take them in are the priests of Pama, which is one of the greater beings, gods, whatever, that Captain Marvel will occasionally shout an expletive of. Like Great Hala or Great Pama or by Pama's beard or whatever. I haven't read enough Marvel yet.
Great.
But
By
yes,
the
he
beard of the
refers to...
Sky Demon.
Yeah, he refers to Pama in other things. So you kind of get the hint that there's something going on here.
So anyway, the monks have separated them. They train him to be able to move, despite being blind, but they have kept him from his daughter, who gets to be raised purely in the temple.
Because he was a soldier and so was violent, and they are not violent. But they know martial arts and are teaching his daughter every conceivable type of offense and defense.
Right. Not just defense, but offense as well.
Yes. But they're pacifists.
Right. So this point, Mantis kind of goes a bit crazy because she does not remember being trained in a monastery. So she calls him a liar. They try and grab her. She fights off pretty much most of the Avengers.
I think she just fights them all off. Yes, she fights them all off.
She does some ass kicking.
She does. She
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she takes out nearly all of them. She takes out Thor almost immediately, smacks Vision in the head. When Iron Man, Black Panther, and Scarlet Witch, whom they're all referred to as old-fashioned fighters, they try to grab her, and she just kicks their ass. And when Thor and Vision get up again, she punches them in the head again and knocks them out again.
Do you have something, Kit? Okay. So then she comes face to face to fight Libra, who seems to know some of the same martial arts and does this kind of, I can use mystical leverage to lift one arm to make the other arm go down irresistibly, and pins her to the floor.
It's the one trick the monks taught him, apparently. They taught him one trick in several years.
Yes. So she's like, swordsman will come to my aid, and they look over, and I guess he was injured in a previous battle. We haven't paying that much attention to him, but he was in a wheelchair, and he's gone.
Yeah.
Swordsman was severely injured when they were fighting the Zodiac, and it wasn't ever treated, so he got an infection in his injury, which I don't think happens very often to the Avengers.
No.
Sorry, Jesse, I know we're not talking about it. Anyway, he's off flying a ship. Woo!
Yeah. Yeah, I think by next issue they start forgetting about his infected wound, but
No.
So yes, he steals the Avengers ship. They're trying to radio him. He ignores them. They're like, man, where do we leave the other ship? They're like, well, it's still in New Jersey.
Well, see, and this is what baffles me, because if they were still at the warehouse, it would kind of make sense. But if they've gone all the way back to the Avengers mansion, they're just going to leave a Quinjet sitting in New Jersey.
Yeah,
I mean,
why would they
not to
take it
suggest
back?
not to suggest it's going to be up on blocks or anything, but just you flew a ginormous $1 million plane and landed it in New Jersey, and then flew back home and didn't consider, hey, let's send Vision or Iron Man or somebody else who can fly to go grab that jet and bring it back, so that we don't have this sort of weird conversation where it's like, oh, we've only got 2 Quinjets, Swordsman took one, the other one's in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I was also going to make the up on blocks joke, so thank you, Jeff.
But yes, then it's the, of course, some of us can fly, but not all of us, so we can't all get there. And Black Panther has his Wakandian ship, but it's only built for one person. So then Iron Man's like, fine, I've got the keys, I'll go get it.
Aw, poor Shellhead.
Yeah. As he was once known to intone, sheesh.
And then he alludes that he was already preparing to go to Vietnam, which I didn't see in the previous issues, so maybe it was in his own book.
It is. They have an editor's note there.
There's a note at the bottom of the page. I just read that. Okay.
And then scene shift to Vietnam, where the swordsman, despite having an infected wound, can still kick open a wall or door. Looks like a wall.
Yeah, he just kind of busts right through.
Yeah.
When you have willpower, you can ignore injuries.
And solid wood structures, I guess. Because he's kicking it. He's not like using the sword or blasty or choppy or anything. Just crump, as they put it.
So we get a good couple pages of him fighting off guards in this Kingpin's uh, manner, but eventually he is overpowered and captured.
Again, not favorite character.
Mm-mm. And he has some motivation here. He's feeling a little challenged by the Vision and wants to protect Mantis as much as he can, and so it explains his bravado a little bit. But the swordsman does what the swordsman does.
Yeah, which is sword like the swordsman.
So eventually the Avengers arrive. They find that he's tied up and has been tortured, and has told them the location of the priests of Palma.
Which they didn't go into in Libra's story, so how did he know? Anyways.
So
yes.
Bamboo
They-
under the fingernails, man.
yeah.
He'd come up with all kinds of stuff. That was racist. Sorry.
Well, this whole run of Avengers is kind of treading that thin line and stepping over it moderately often. Anyways, so they rush off to try to protect the priest of Palma. And,
However, most of them appear easier. Having trouble there, Kit?
I was
And,
attempting to rescue my webcam from the cat and ended up making it worse. Sorry. Keep talking.
okay.
It'll be okay, I promise.
Well, except for you're making a lot of noise.
Okay. And then Mantis, all along the way, is saying that this is all still lies. And Libra finally has enough of her sass. And tells her, "Shut up! A man will take so much, girl. Shut up and follow me."
I don't like him.
I doubt he shows up that much after this, because I certainly hadn't heard of him before this, before these Avengers ones, and I actually read about the Zodiac at one point.
Yeah, well, Zodiac's one of those big groups, so it's easy to get lost in the crowd.
Yeah.
So they fight off some of Monsieur Cruel's guards.
After
And-
discovering the priest of Palma murdered,
Yes. And make their way to the center of the temple, where they find that Monsieur Cruel is dying, and he whispers, "Never should have killed priests, never, beware the Star Stalker." I don't really get why he was killing the priests, because it seems like their value is like super cool martial arts trainers, and just like, oh, we got a temple is just a empty building in the jungle without the priests. But
well, and everything about him seems very bizarre, because he seems to be willing to inflict massive quantities of violence and damage because he believes his sister and niece need protecting in some way.
Or he's mad that she defied him in some way, and so he's just kind of taking it out on the priests for protecting them later, is what I got from it.
Maybe. But it seems silly that, because clearly this was when Mantis was tiny, so, 20 some odd years ago at minimum, and he's still holding a grudge, bad enough that he wants to kill all the priests of Palma.
and he hasn't seemed to age all that much.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
So the final page has a teaser of this red dragon lurking in the background that no one seems to notice.
Yeah. See, more instances as to how Rogers is correct. People need to pay more freaking attention. Just, keep your eyes out, understand what you're doing. We can't just waltz into every room and just kick everybody's butt and then expect everything to be all right. But then what happens? The Avengers all walk into the room, kick everyone's butt, think everything's going to be fine, and then super hidden villain shows up.
Who? I wasn't super into this issue. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It was mostly important in that it starts filling out Mantis's martial arts background, even though she at this point does not recognize that this was her background.
Yeah. The next one's actually pretty cool though. So.
Oh, I was thinking that if you didn't like that issue, you weren't going to like this issue.
There's actual fighting in this one.
Oh, I see. That's fair. There's a lot of talking in the previous issue.
And if we've learned anything so far about Kit, it's that she really doesn't like the talking.
I see. So, yes, this is moving on to issue 124, Beware the Star Stalker, featuring more of the mysterious origin of Mantis. Once again, author Steve Englehart, this time proudly reunites with two of comics' finest artists, John Buscema and Dave Cochran. Letterer Jay Constanza, colorist G. Russos, and editor Roy Thomas.
So same letterer, different colorist.
Mm-hmm. Same editor.
Different pencilers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said letterer, but I probably went blah, blah, blah.
No, I heard letterer.
Okay.
So, once again, the splash screen has everyone looking at the body of this guy, who's dead and torn to ribbons, although not really shown to be torn to ribbons, but described thus. And this red dragon figure behind them that is clearly not actually there.
Apparently he's the Star Stalker.
Yes, and apparently he is super good at stealth.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, that hand is like inches away from Vision's head, and he's like, there's a dead guy on that slab of rock. What does this mean?
Yeah, there's 3 telepaths in the room, and yeah.
Has Mantis shown any telepathic ability yet?
Yes, in issues we did not cover.
Got it. Okay, just making sure.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I know she does in the future.
Because she was sensing the lion god.
Right.
Right.
So, but who are the other telepaths?
Vision and Scarlet Witch. Don't they read minds eventually? Wow, that's a look. Hi.
I don't think Vision ever gets mind reading abilities.
Okay.
Scarlet Witch definitely doesn't at this point. Her powers expand later. We will get to the point where she gets trained by the Fantastic Four's nanny. I forget what her name is now. Agatha Harkins. Yeah.
So I'm an idiot, and we can cut this whole part out because.
Oh no, this is gold. It's going in. On the other hand, we've also got Libra, who apparently has extrasensory perceptions, who also can't detect them. So I'm guessing that this is not really.
Well, and we've got Iron Man, who likely has a full array of sensors.
And Thor, who is a god.
Yeah, Thor, who's a god. And I mean, yes, Vision may not be able to read minds, but he's certainly got heightened senses because he's a synthezoid. Although
Maybe
I don't know if they refer to him as that yet. So,
That might be why I thought he could read minds, because he knows stuff about to happen.
So,
and he's called the Vision! Okay, anyway.
fair enough.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
So we get a bit of a recap.
Yeah. And of course, it's a 3-issue recap at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's been going on that's been leading up to this.
We get the recap of them defeating the Zodiac, followed by...
And apparently the Zodiac's plan was to lure them into a warehouse and then launch that warehouse into space to never see the Avengers again.
Well, I think they were going to use their cruiser to destroy it in space and then destroy the planet with it, or conquer the planet with it.
Yeah, they had a Star Blaster, and so they created the Star Cruiser in order to use the Star Blaster for mass murder.
I see. Because you can't just use your Star Blaster. It's got to be in a Star Cruiser.
With the Avengers inside.
Yeah. And then the recap of Libra's story of being Mantis' father, and...
Lies!
losing his wife and eyes to the bigoted retaliation of his wife's brother.
Which just goes
And
to
then-
show that hate gets you nothing.
Except burned eyes and secret martial arts training.
I was meaning the brothers hate.
Oh, okay.
I don't think Libra had any hate.
Oh, he
had love.
probably hated his wife's brother too, but his was just more reasonable in the fact that, he hated his wife's brother for killing her.
It's a good reason not to like somebody.
It generally is, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the priests of Pama, it's also suggested, were victims of Libra's brother-in-law and his racial prejudices. Because I guess the priests of Pama weren't sufficiently Asian for him. You trained Mantis, but you're not Asian enough. God damn it. Only Asian people can train Asian people in martial arts.
But they're not Asian.
Yeah, to be fair, we learned later that they're Cree.
They are
Yeah.
Cree.
Hence my earlier reference to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why there's a hidden temple in the middle of every Asian country, because the Cree just felt like spreading out a little bit.
Oh, are you suggesting the ancient one was a Cree as well? Sorry.
Anyway, I don't know enough to make a joke or any hypothesis on that. So, keeping my mouth shut.
I was
going to say, so Mantis finds a secret door. Yes, but there's a secret doorway here. And Black Panther's like, you now admit you know this temple? And she's like, is this one on trial, Panther? Look, in here.
Holy cray! It's a big ass
That is
dragon.
Well, and we also have the excellent line of, "Look, nay, Avengers, marvel,
I see what they did there.
'cause it's the name of the company."
And Thor names it. Yeah.
Well, it's deduction at this point, because
Yeah,
they were saying that the Star
the
Stalker,
guy-
beware it, and this thing's here, so.
So it must be the Star Stalker.
Apparently.
And we get some good old fight scenes.
And
Yeah.
Thor does what he does, which is, "I'm Thor, god of thunder, I will smash you." Bad guy says, "No, you won't." And Thor says, "Ow."
Mommy. And we have some Mantis being pretty badass.
Well,
And-
yeah.
Narrating her badassery, which she, again, it's a habit that we will see a lot of from her. That's all I got.
Then we have Iron Man repulsor raying, because, again, that's what he do. And not only does it appear to have no effect, but it appears to be feeding the creature, who says, "Shoot me more! I'll just lie here until you finish!" Then he asserts that they realize the fact that they are helping him and they're drawing back, so then he goes into smash the floor, because that's what giant evil entities do, is smash the floor and collapse buildings. And then, after everyone is desperately trying to claw themselves out of the rubble, bad guy goes into flashback monologue.
He tells them what he wants to do. He says, "Nothing you do can injure me. And yet I see that you are defiant. So perhaps if you hear my story, like, your story isn't going to make them want to help you, man. You just like, want to destroy the planet. What's wrong with you? What the fuck, man?" Sorry, that's
It's
my...
like, maybe if you understand why I want to destroy the planet, you'll just let me destroy the planet.
Yeah. I'm not really evil. I'm just misunderstood.
No, he's pretty freaking evil.
He's really freaking evil.
But here we also have the Kree getting brought up, because apparently they're the ones that first encountered him the Kree themselves, being warlike, had a group who were pacifists, and so, of course, because the Kree are jerk-offs, apparently, they banished all of their pacifists to a tiny prison planet. And that's where the Star Stalker?
Star Stalker.
Star Stalker. They have too many star things. Star
Yes.
Killers, Star Stalkers, Star Destroyers. Oh, wait, that's something else.
Death Stars.
So apparently he flies to this planet, wraps himself into a cocoon. Everybody's just like, okay. And then he busts out of his cocoon in his form of pure ionic combustion.
Whoa!
Because apparently you can burn electrons with fire. I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah.
Cosmic science. Yay!
But apparently in this form, he sucks electricity from the area, and it kills planets.
Yeah, the ions feed him.
Uh-huh.
So
And naturally the planet perishes. I assume because everything breaks down into protons and neutrons?
It's
So anyway,
yeah, it's all very strange. Anyway,
I'm
so he's,
thinking too much about this, clearly.
so the Kree drive off the Star Stalker, but the Kree are still too warlock to like these peaceful guys, even though they were the ones who figured out how to defeat him, I guess. They exile them to multiple planets, so they get spread out around the stars and make little monastery colonies, and on Earth they became known as the Priests of Pama.
I do also want to point out that, again, not living up to his name, the Kree Supreme Intelligence doesn't take a warning to heart. He just says, you guys are a bunch of pacifists. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, we're not real fond of him.
nah. Of course,
He's not really the kind of person I'd say is emphasizing that whole Supreme Intelligence title.
and the Star Stalker does thumb his nose a little bit and say, "Don't expect me to tell you what it was that defeated me while I tell you my story," which I thought was pretty. I laughed when I read that.
I have a feeling that what happened is he landed on this planet earlier, and the Priests of Pama were like, oh, it's you again. And then the Starkiller is like, oh, well, but you're new people, so you don't know that this can defeat me. Oh, crap. So he's learned his lesson, and he's not going to just tell everyone, this is how you defeat me.
And he's a better villain than Thanos.
That's true. Of course, he's also a villain who, in the midst of monologuing his entire story and asserting that he doesn't know who Galactus is, which, I mean, you're a cosmic entity destroying planets, everybody knows Galactus, he then just proceeds to weave himself into a cocoon. Just like the ultimate middle finger to everyone. You can't do anything to me, so I'm just going to take a little nappy here and then suck the life out of this planet.
So then Libra grabs Mantis and says, "Hear me, girl. I know the priest taught you secrets. Wager they taught you this one."
You're
You're
insane.
Go ahead.
Aw. No, it's okay.
No.
No. Do it. Do your thing.
One of
I
you
like
do
it.
it.
I like it when Jesse
All
does
right.
it.
All right. Mantis says, "You are insane. This one tells you you are wrong."
Yeah.
This is some time where Mantis tries to think back and think, do I really know things? And no.
No. Just no. Not maybe, something, just...
Search your mind, for you know it to be true.
But you get a really frowny, like, concentration face close up.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But no.
So, Black Panther has the idea, and they call up Taurus in prison in America, say, "Hey, how do you use this Star Blaster thing you had? Because I think we're going to need it to save the world." He's like, "Why should I help you? Save the world, you don't want to die." Okay.
Well, there's some choice words here, though.
Yes, please.
All
I
right.
mean,
Go
the
ahead.
Black Panther, and you want to know how to use my Star Blaster? You've been eating loco weed, you crummy.
Yes.
Van Lunt, I swear to you that the lives of everyone on this planet are at stake. We need this weapon.
Well, when you put it like that, I guess I won't be needing it anyway. All right, here's what you do. So, Colonel Mastermind, entire organization just destroyed by the Avengers. He's currently in prison, clearly in the warden's office to answer the phone. Accuses Panther of eating the loco weed, which again, not really understanding how drugs work. And then the whole planet's gonna die. Oh, I guess I can let you use my super weapon. Here's how you do it.
It's beautiful. I'm so happy we went over that because I was going to be sad if we didn't. Amazing. Read this issue just for those 3 panels.
Yeah. And then Swordsman in Saigon,
With
which
Scarlet Witch.
they're still nearby for the Priest of Palma, I thought. But
Close-ish. But he's injured and been tortured.
yes, and Scarlet Witch pretty much acts as a sounding board for Swordsman's monologuing, my life is so terrible because I'm a failure. And he really, really loves Mantis.
And he's not a swashbuckler. He's not Errol Flynn.
He's not. But he wants to be because Mantis loves heroism. She wants someone to look up to.
Oh, Wanda. Oh, Wanda. I love her so.
Oh, Wanda.
So does Scarlet Witch not have a secret identity?
No, not really.
No.
Okay, just asking. Side note.
Yeah, even when she was first introduced, she still had the full face exposure. So.
Cool. Okay. Anyway, so we turn from this sad scene because, you know, it's pathetic, and move back to the action.
Well, quote-unquote action, where Mantis continues to talk to the Vision about how she's questioning whether Libra's assertions are true, which Vision's computer mind can't figure out who's telling the truth.
And there's some serious sexual tension in these panels. Just saying.
Really?
Maybe.
The Vision leaning with his arm on his knee like that, just looking up at her? That's sexual tension?
She's
Okay.
she's like pushing her chest out. Anyway, so look, here
It's
comes the
more
Star
on
Blaster.
Mantis' side. She's definitely...
She's, yeah.
Yep.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm reading
No.
too much into it.
No, you're not. I know where this is going.
So, S.H.I.E.L.D. apparently has the time to hook the Star Blaster up to a jet, flies it out to them, and then I would like to point out Iron Man and Black Panther's electronics expertise, which involve Black Panther reaching inside and Iron Man shooting it with a repulsor beam.
They're very flexible repulsor beams.
I've got to assume that there's something going on with these repulsor beams, or maybe it's just that Iron Man secretly has a mental handicap, and so they just let him fire the repulsor beams, and they're like, "Good job, Tony! You really fixed that. Okay, can we have you do something else?" And then they're actually like, "Oh shit, he blew it up."
I'm sorry. Headcanon accepted. Amazing. Oh, Tony's drunk again. Let's just let him
He's
shoot
just
some
shooting
sound
stuff.
beams and shit. Oh, it's amazing. Thank you, Jay. You've changed my
You're
life.
I'm glad I could help. Anyway, so they fix the thyroid flashlight, which I guess is an offhanded slang version of Star Blaster.
I don't even can.
Yeah, I can't even understand the reference.
Okay.
They fix it. The Vision hears the creature stirring, and he hears the stirring because the creature busts out of the wall, which is strange because it can suck the energy out of anything. So why doesn't it just like devour the temple?
This is far more dramatic.
I guess so. And then he proceeds to blast the Starstalker with the full power of the Star Blaster. And nothing happens. The Starstalker just insists, "Fools! Star energy cannot kill me! I stalk the stars!" Because that's its name. Yeah.
It's always
then it
good to have your
completely
name be what you do.
Yeah. It's like all those people in the Middle Ages who were named Smith because they were Smiths.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Haggard the Horrible.
Because he was horrible?
Yeah.
And the Stalker proceeds to destroy the Star Blaster, which was their only hope, except for Thor, who insists that he can still use his hammer to smash the thing's head in, despite failing twice before.
Nay. But while one Avenger yet breathes, our hope will not be lost. Oh, Thor, you sweet, precious cinnamon roll.
You stoneware, plate-wearing, hammer-wielding, lovable little doof.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, we are going to do a special episode where we take a look at the origins of Beta Ray Bill. Get some more
Also
Thor.
one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he's not quite a Guardian, but he does work with the Guardians, I think, a little. He's just cool enough and spacey that, he's cosmic. Whatever.
Yeah.
This is really Cosmic Tales, not Guardian Tales. We talk about Cosmic.
Yeah, well, anyway. We're flexible.
Yeah.
So Thor
big old fight scene.
Oh, yeah. Thor and Iron Man try to attack the thing. It grabs them and smashes their heads into each other.
Which, again, I think this is the third time I laughed out loud reading this issue.
No, wait. That's not it. He's trying to get them to kiss.
Oh!
Just like action figures, because he's got them in that same sort of hold.
That I don't ship that. I ship Stony. That Thor and Tony is not my OTP. Anyway. Sorry. Not sorry.
So then we have more combat with Libra, Vision, and Black Panther attempting to figure out what's happening.
It was a nice plan.
Yeah. Well, in particular, Black Panther was saying, hey, I'm going to jump at this guy, and he'll do something, and you pay attention to it and figure out what his weakness is. Which, kind of an okay plan, but doesn't turn out very well.
It's noble. It's very Black Panther.
It is very Black Panther. He does a lot of that.
Here, let me go get hurt so I don't have to fight anymore because I'm tired.
Let me go get hurt so you can figure out what's going on. He's the Thing of the Avengers.
Oh, it all makes sense.
Also the Reed of the Avengers in that way. He constantly tells himself to go do stupid things and get into trouble so that other people can figure out what's actually going on.
It's beautiful. I love it. He's the Drax.
He is the many facets of the self-sacrificing, semi-resilient character.
And
now we get to the important part where Mantis and Starstalker face off. Starstalker says, "Scum, why do they seek to delay me? They cannot use the secret of the Kree against me now. I shall finish their destruction quickly."
And then,
Who wants to be?
oh, I'll pop out of nowhere as Mantis and be like, "No, creature! This one knows the secret. This one shall stop you." A lie! I know nothing. Yet my apparent menace is my greatest weapon. Eh?
So this Libra spoke truth. You do fight like the Kree.
It cannot be true, but when I struck it, I felt no weakness. Its touch did not hurt. This one does not understand, but she can act.
Well, that's questionable. I mean,
Yeah, no, I can't.
Kind of ham-handed.
Foolish life form. The ability to pain me is not the secret of my defeat. You are more annoying than the others, but in the end, I will destroy you too.
I must use the Mantis death grip, and for once, to kill. Will you, creature? Will you?
Away!
I'm out of-
It's all good. Anyway.
Sorry. It broke the grip. Wait. This one sees it now. The secret. This one knows how to overcome. Yes, the Vision's synthezoid. Wow. why does that word not make sense right now? First, yes, the Vision synthesoid body has begun to... I can't talk.
Short of it, Mantis figures it out, tells the Vision to blast the guy with his solar eye beams, which normally they come out of the gem, but
It's a little, yeah.
And that proceeds to knock the thing out, or kill it, apparently.
Mm-hmm. It cannot withstand heat. And then she explains that it attacked the prison planet, which had no sunlight. It had never heard of Galactus, who is infamous among the peoples of the universe. And then my favorite part, ergo, the stalker rarely ventured among populated planets. Love it. So they figured out the heat was the thing to destroy it, because it liked cold things.
Because that's why it hid from the sun, that's why it could travel in space, because space is cold, and so the sun wouldn't heat it up enough where it would do any kind of damage.
Didn't its true form subsist off burning things?
Yeah, so...
Okay.
Yeah. Ionic combustion.
Mantis, says Vision, has a remarkable mind.
He does. She also continues to assert that even though it very clearly came out of nowhere, because all she did was fight it and then realize, hey, wait, I need to heat it up. She continues to insist that she didn't remember anything. It was all deduction.
It was elementary, my dear Vision.
Elementary.
But it's possible that Libra was right.
And then this one is not even what she thinks she is. And that makes her very, very afraid.
Dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun.
Wow. It's actually a great line to end on.
It's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So the next issue we won't cover in detail, but is, despite claiming more on the deepening mystery of Mantis, I didn't see any of it in it. But it comes back to way back in episode 3, I think, or 3 through 6, when we covered Thanos and the Cosmic Cube. This is the Avengers episode or issue that happens during that time. So all of Thanos' minions are attacking in spaceships, and the Avengers take their fleet of not very many spaceships and go and fight minions in space, and then land back on Earth going, man, why did he do that when he's like got the powers of a god and stuff? But whatever.
And then they all go slightly out of phase.
Right.
And that's important because then the Mantis contacts the people who are in phase with her telepathic abilities, which she had shown little sign of before.
But some tiny bits of sign of.
Some sign of, yes. So it's not completely out of the blue.
So yes, then we're going to skip to next episode. We'll look at Avengers 128 and 129 and Giant Avengers 2. I'm not really sure what the idea of Giant Avengers was, as other than like an annoying other title that you need to like buy every other month because it's like literally the next several stories. You like read 2 issues, then must read a Giant Avengers, then read 2 issues and must read a Giant Avengers, and then it's
Yeah.
Woo, time!
Well, comic books. Yeah, comics books had to get you to buy more comic books. So.
But yeah, so Mantis starts out kind of mysterious, doesn't have everything explained yet, clearly has some mystic Cree martial art knowledge, also is Vietnamese. So
Half Vietnamese. If
yeah,
Libra is to be believed.
I will say that's kind of one of the things that's now disappointing to me when she turns green in the future, is that it kind of covers her non-white origins. Because we certainly don't have nearly enough we don't have that many female strong characters. I mean, they're around, but
But there's
most
at
of
least
them are also-
3 green ones.
yeah, we don't need as many alien ones, and it'd be nice to have some from around the planet.
Yeah.
From around the corner. We want to shop local for our superheroes.
So having seen her in much, much later Guardians, I just assumed she was an alien because I hadn't read any of this. But now that we know, yes, she is actually from Earth and does have some, Cree background. She is indeed Vietnamese.
And she's fully human. She's just been trained by the Kree, as far as we know.
Yes, but there was also hints that the Kree worshipped her.
Yes.
So it's possible there's something else going on there too.
Yeah. It'll get complicated.
Yeah.
In the meantime, any last thoughts? I think that was the last issue we were working with.
Yes. I certainly like Mantis. I think she's cool. I think she's complicated.
I fully agree. I'm really enjoying seeing her origins, and I think that even though we're not going to cover it, there's a lot of issues she's in that are worth reading just to get some background on her. And I'm going to keep harping on that as much as it annoys you, Jesse.
No, it's fine.
It's fine. We just don't have the time, is all.
No, I understand.
Unless you want to be doing episode 300 is when we finally get out of the 70s.
Yeah, I read from 112 to 135 or so to figure out what we were going to cover. I'm going to probably read some more as I figure out what we're going to cover about Moondragon. But
yeah, I read Captain Marvel from like 23 all the way up to like 40 something, which only had tangential links with some of the stuff that we were talking about. And I actually kind of liked Captain Marvel. I didn't realize it, but
it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
We will get back to him because once we finish up this Mantis story, before we go on to more things, we will probably look at some more Star-Lord and some more Drax appearance in Captain Marvel. There's a pretty long story arc from Captain Marvel 58 through 62 that continues on when Captain Marvel no longer has his own title, but he gets to be in Marvel Spotlight 1 and 2. Yeah.
I think it totally makes sense for us to read issues we're not going to cover just so we can maybe reference them quickly.
Oh, totally. Because the Captain Marvel one we had with Drax showing back up, I had to fill in everything else about what had happened up to the point of the flying space donkey.
Yeah, I don't think that episode has come out yet, so I don't think...
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm 60 minutes out of 80 minutes in our Star-Lord episode. So hopefully I'll get that out soon.
I was going to say that I'm not immediately in love with Mantis, but I think it's more the 60s and 70s writing than the character itself.
Have you read much further than this yet, or no?
I haven't. This was really the first interactions.
Yeah, so this just kind of sets the stage, but I think her story really shapes up when we get, Avengers 128 through 135. Okay. So yeah, like I said, there's a reason we're covering her in 4 episodes because there's a lot more to her.
Oh yeah.
And then did I mention the part where after this she jumps over to Justice League?
Yes. And did she jump to? She jumped to one of the smaller independents, didn't she?
Yes, no, I think just one, but I haven't quite tracked down a copy of Scorpio Rose yet. Yeah. We'll get to that eventually.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
But I think that's good. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed Mantis as much as the cool folks did.
I'm the loser.
Well, as I said, I think her story improves, because I read through the whole thing, figuring out what we were going to cover, and then coming back and read this part just for this episode, and so seeing the hints of things to come already in place is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as I said, it's probably not the character so much as the writing. Like, for instance, the Vision in what I have seen of him, I haven't been as thrilled with as I was with the miniseries of Vision and the Scarlet Witch, because it really got into the characters themselves and made them a lot more interesting. But
Definitely
that's
go
just
back and take a look at 113 because
okay.
Yeah.
Because living
it's
bombs.
it's a like I don't know if it was intentional, but from looking at it here, it felt like an analog to like gay marriage, and I know that wasn't really priority on their thoughts. It's probably more interracial marriage is what they were
Yeah.
thinking of.
Yes.
But
Probably more of that, yeah. But well, and a lot of those things just tie in because
Yeah.
they're all about the same core concept of, you should let people be happy. It shouldn't matter how they wind up being happy. But of course, they're working with what they've got in that time period.
Yeah.
Because gay people didn't exist in the 70s.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
No,
Well,
I know
so-
what you were
Yes, in
going
there.
for. I just couldn't.
Well, there certainly is a long history of gay subtext in comics, but I don't know that much until later X-Men stuff, which is mostly Kitty Pryde and all of her roommates. But
Well, and the lesbians always lead the charge.
yeah, I don't know as many.
No, there have been, speaking from research, there have been decidedly few gay male characters in comics, and if anyone wants to look into just how terribly they've been treated, there's the whole Freedom Ring. That
I
was
don't know that one.
yeah. Effectively, it was you're familiar with the Kyle Rayner's wife getting stuck in a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Or girlfriend. Yeah, it's roughly the equivalent of that. Pretty much, gay superhero shows up, fights villain, and is slaughtered terribly within a single issue.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
Have you read Young Avengers?
I have not. No.
You should read
I'm
Young
still,
Avengers.
yeah, I'm still really behind on modern stuff.
Well,
But,
Young Avengers isn't that new anymore.
well, by modern stuff, I'm meaning anything past Doctor Strange in the 90s.
Sure.
So yeah, that's
So 2005, 2006, Young Avengers series, definitely worth skipping up to. It's a good series. I really like it.
they've been doing a bit better with that sort of thing nowadays.
Yeah. But anyway, I should go. It's getting late. You should probably go because I don't know why Kit's still awake.
Am I?
Well, I should have dinner.
Barely. Also true. All right. Good night, guys. Thanks, everybody.
I'll talk
Bye,
to you later.
everyone.
Bye.